What's going on, guys? Evan the Dark Souls enthusiast here, bringing another Dark Souls gameplay commentary on the Xbox 360. This is going to be another PvP series of videos where I do a little PvP in the kiln using the Black Knight Greataxe. And I'm just going to take a moment to go ahead and preempt the comments. I'm aware the Black Knight Greataxe is kind of the noob core weapon of Dark Souls, I get that. I don't know why it's characterized as such. It's actually a really easy weapon to beat and a really easy weapon to use. So all in all, I think when you evaluate weapon strength, talking about ease of use is actually fair and important. Like certain weapons are extremely effective, albeit they're very hard to use. I think that it's important to keep in mind, ooh, Moonlight Greatsword blast behind me. It's important to remember that usually the easier the weapon is to use, the easier it is to beat. Like, you know, if this is a noob weapon, then that must make the Claymore the ultimate noob weapon, because it'll be pretty hard to use the Claymore wrong. What brought me to even start the commentary off with that is simply the fact that, like, people, I don't want to say people, but it's sort of exaggerated how good this weapon is. I mean, yeah, if you wind up in a slugfest with this weapon, 90% of the weapons in the game lose, but you shouldn't engage this weapon in a slugfest. And this is a 2v1 here where I'm really struggling because they're both in like the lots of life build, and this guy catches me as I run by trying to get to the host. In those 3v1, 2v1 situations, the only way I know to win is just to kill the host because he can keep flasking up the phantoms. I don't have a Hornet's Ring to make it like an instant kill backstab, so I pretty much just have to go in. Given the fact that the Black Knight Greataxe weighs 16 pounds, which is another reason why it's fair, I'm forced to basically wear Ring of Favor and Protection and Darkwood Grain Ring in order to make give me those nice cartwheel rolls. The character build is pretty much the stereotypical build with a couple tweaks. This is Mask of the Father, Ring of Favor and Protection, Darkwood Grain Ring, Black Knight Axe, Black Knight Greataxe, Crest Shield, Parrying Dagger on the offhand switch for that, and I get woeful stumped here by Golem Axe, and Havel's Boots, Havel's Gauntlets, and Knight Armor, which takes you to about exactly 76 poise, which is really the only breakpoint anyone should really struggle to obtain on their heavy characters. Like, the most common breakpoint is like in the 50s, like I don't remember the exact number, it's another one of my videos, like 55, I think, 53 maybe. Between 52 and 55 is where most characters will wind up trying to shoot to stay at, whereas characters use weapons like this where you don't swing fast and it's really hard to fight with finesse, you wind up with like 76, so you can tank like Greataxe hits and stuff like that. Golem Axe is actually a really powerful weapon. I think it's just strictly better than the Black Knight Greataxe. The Black Knight Greataxe does more damage, but really it's not the damage on these weapons that matters, it's the fact that they hit stun you. And hit stun has nothing to do with the actual damage, it has to do with the way the weapon works, like the way the weapon is designed. So your overall damage is actually inconsequential to hit stunning people. So, like, Golem Axe just seems to hit stun really, really well and attacks really, really fast. And that is pretty much why I wind up using it a lot, or I really should use it a lot. I haven't used it that much. My next upload will probably be another 30-minute-ish sequence of PvP here in the kiln with the Black Knight Greataxe, just so I can say I've thoroughly demonstrated and explored the weapon, and then I'll wind up probably never demonstrating it again. Unfortunately, my poise is high enough that his Pyro Flame, greater in combustion there, doesn't really stun me, so he can hit me with it and I can just run in and backstab him. As always, PvP basically boils down to who can backstab who more. Of course, he's using an Eagle Shield, and I don't see that a whole lot. I did see a lot of great shields when I was in the kiln, but normally I see, like, you know, the normal common stuff. And I also showed great combustion that guy when he stood up, but I screwed up and tried to whack him instead. I'm chasing this guy around. I could have finished him off with the last Pyro Flame, but I failed. There you'll see it, like, fighting against the Pyromancer's Glove is extremely dangerous because, like, sometimes it'll look like you're not in the flame, but you'll take damage as if you were. I don't know. I don't know if that's another one of those latency issues or if that's just a matter of course, he switches to the Wrath of Gods here, which is fine. Trying to finish me off. I'm backing out safely. Here comes the barrage of Pyro Bombs. He's basically trying to zone me out. If this were a fighting game, he basically on like the all zoning plan at this point because he has no life. Not that I have much either. I mean, if he could hit me with a couple sword whacks, I'd just die immediately. I really should switch to a weapon that can go through guard pretty well, like a shuttle or something like that, which is what I'm trying to do here. Unfortunately, when I'm switching weapons, I lose sight of him, and he poison miss himself so he can cast some miracle heals. By the time I realized what he was doing, I screwed up. I should have went in and finished him off, but I didn't. Now I'm in a bad situation because he's at full life, and I know in these big slugfests I really can't beat him in, a slugfest. So, of course, he's popping consumables like it's his job. I don't actually eat the stamina grass. That's not really because I claim I don't need it or that I'm too good for it. I don't like carrying it around, and once I run out, I rarely rebuy supplies. Like, humanity's the same way. I rarely use humanity to heal just because I don't have it. And I'm too lazy to go farm the babies in the catacombs to get a load of humanity, or to go to the depths and do it. Then I pull him into the Black Knight here. This is, all in all, a pretty lousy way to play. But I did it anyway. I make no excuses. Every now and again I've been known to do what it takes to win. Within reason, you'll never see me doing the ultimate annoyance, but anyway, I'm not going to justify it. You saw what happened. I didn't really get more than one free hit off it, and then he starts flasking, which kind of I was glad about because I don't blame him for flasking. I pulled him into Black Knights, stuff like that. He might as well flask at this point. And of course, we're still chasing each other around. The problem with the Golem Axe is it does not have a lot of range. Now, of course, against weapons like mine, where I have some range, but I still have to get up in your grill. Then I get a sweet, like, jumping. That was actually planned. I was trying to do, like, exactly what happened, basically, is stun him enough to kill him here. Go for the backstab, and he tries to flask, but he still gets the flask off, which means he lives, which is pretty frustrating. So now the chase begins. He's going to keep backing up behind his shield. This is a long match, obviously, and he'll keep backing up behind that shield until he can land a heal. My axe is bouncing off the ground because of that weird slope, where I should be trying to fish for more diving attacks, but I'm not. And we have another flask here. Now I'm in real trouble. He managed to get that flask off. I have no life left. I'm like, well, time to go back to another Black Knight. At this point, it's pretty much no holds bar. He's flasking, I'm pulling Black Knights. This is one of those all-in kind of moments. So I go ahead and pop a humanity so I can get back in the fight. I only have 3 in my inventory, and once those run out, I won't have any more on this character. Probably until New Game Plus, if I ever go to New Game Plus. There's actually nothing in New Game Plus that this character really needs. I guess I could get a second stack of Great Combustion for my Pyro Glove, but he ran out of Wrath of Gods there. Pretty costly mistake. He's still alive for the moment, but it's getting pretty close. Of course, I managed to roll behind him there and catch him with the finishing blow. For such an unmannered match on my part, didn't really play that very well, and I guess once I started playing like a jerk, so did he. But it ended up alright. I think it ended fairly skillfully. I was pretty proud of that roll. Good positioning there. I guess the hardcore PvP veterans of this game will say that was, you should have been doing that all along. People are pretty quick to criticize over performance in this game, I notice. Like, I don't know why. There's so many like factors that affect your matches, like lag and stuff. I'm not making excuses for performance so much as I'm just saying, like, there's really, and of course this guy is doing the blend and pot thing, which is pretty cool, but it didn't really work. If I was in two-handed mode, he just would have died instantly there. I don't really one-hand this thing very much. The one-handed moveset's okay, because basically when you talk about the moveset on the Black Knight Greataxe, you don't really have anything but R1, because all the R2s are pretty bad. And of course I managed to hit him on that backstab, finish him off. But yeah, really, the whole moveset on this thing is limited to R1. Because you just want to smash again and again and again. And the R2 on both, the heavy attack on both two-handed and one-handed is so slow it's basically useless. One-handed you get a nice jumping attack that every so often you can catch people off guard if you are one of those long matches where they keep turtling and you keep turtling and no one can really get ahead. Of course, while I'm opening my Xbox Live menu, I invade this guy again and he starts spraying me. I try to get behind him and backstab him, and for whatever reason I can't get past him. And now, of course, he's got a crystal magic weapon, and this thing hurts so bad. Now, what I should be doing is trying to run out that crystal magic weapon. I don't want to wind up in a slugfest with him because he'll win. My shield isn't really suited to block it because it has lousy magic defense. So I really just need to run this off, and I don't know, maybe there's some sort of etiquette in this game I still don't know about. A lot of people have been like sending me hate messages on Xbox Live, like, stop running, you pussy, and things like that. It's like, dude, crystal magic weapon's on a timer. So is, Dark Moon Blade and all the buffs. Like, using a buffing weapon, expect me to run from you. And I think it's a really good idea to run from you. Of course, now we're just somersaulting around each other here. His weapon's got significantly more range than mine. and arguably a better moveset. I'm surprised that Pyroblast didn't kill him. He probably has like 1 life right now. Tries to Avel in me. Pretty cool sidearm to carry on any character, and you know, Crystal Magic Weapon finally wears off. He tries to do the Lighto's R2 charge and winds up getting punished for it. The only reason I'm taunting rudely there is to remind him that, you know, he got like 1/6 my health right at the start by blasting with Lightning Avel in. That's actually a pretty cheesy thing to do, in my opinion, is start attacking people the minute they spawn in. I'm not really going to get into a huge discussion about etiquette again. I'm just saying, like, you know, don't expect a bow from when you basically jump a guy. These aren't invasions. I'd like to keep it like this is the kiln, and the kiln is sort of a higher level of just a different expectation of like style is expected due to the fact that this isn't really an invasion. Like people in human form in the kiln are literally standing around waiting to be invaded, or they're on their way to Gwen. In either case, there's really no need to be in human form unless you need help with Gwen, and if you do, you probably should keep fighting Gwen till you don't need help, because that's a much more rewarding experience in my opinion. But in any case, like these are not invasions, so it's not like people are in a situation where, and I need to move in quicker. You obviously roll faster than you run. Watching these videos, I learn a lot about my own performance, mistakes I've made, things like that. I've learned that I really need to be more aggressive with my rolling. I'm pretty good, I think, about running in, but like sometimes when I get those chances for those backstabs, like punishes and things like that, I miss them because I fail to like roll in. I try to run in and it's just not fast enough. Too much time playing the player versus engine part of the game and not in the PvP, but I'm trying to remedy that. I try to only do like 1 series per weapon. That'll probably change. Of course, now we start slugfesting each other, and I managed to tank a couple hits with my poise and went up right behind him for the backstab. Proper bow there. That's a pretty good fight. That's, I think, why the Black Knight Greataxe is at times considered like the noob weapon, is because you can just like start beating down with it and there's nothing anybody can really do except get out of the way. But that's why it's not a big deal. As long as you don't let yourself get drawn into a slugfest against this weapon, you're fine. It's slow, it's cumbersome, it eats my stamina, and people like me, some people will grass to help offset that. I'm not even grassing, so I don't have any trouble against Black Knight Axe people when I play against them. Honestly, none at all. But some other people do, and that's fine. But just understand, I'm quickly pulling my stats to check things out. Between PvP matches, actually leveling my vitality. I'm actually not up to the 120 cap. I think I'm at like 100-ish. So my vitality will actually grow a couple hundred points. Nothing too crazy, but you know, every little bit makes a difference. So I am fighting slightly under-leveled here. Of course, unfortunately, I spawned in way back there, so I have to run in. I had some pretty frustrating experiences here. These aren't edited. I leave all my losses in, of course, just to, you know, because I think that's more of an authentic experience for you guys to watch. But I have to acknowledge that I have edited out some of the ones that I don't think were my fault. Like, I edit out all 3v1 battles because they're 3v1 battles. And I'm not sure what's going on here. The White Phantom there, I'm not sure if he was blind, trying to be polite, and let his buddy do it by himself. I'm not really sure. Either way, I wasn't going to chance it, and I went ahead and took him out. I knew they were friends due to their account names. It's possible he was, you know, using the restroom. You never know. It's impossible to guess why people are AFK, but I went ahead and finished him off. I'm always afraid, like, when I do that kind of stuff, like, it's one of you guys playing with me, like, you know, joining my session, it's like a subscriber, and that would suck. I don't want to, you know, I want to be nice to my subscribers. Like, sometimes I get really mad, I send, like, those hate messages over Ellipsis Live. I'm afraid, like, oh no, like, this is probably one of my subscribers, and I'm being a real tool bag to him. You know, confession time. I've been known to say some really rude things over Xbox Live. Normally, I don't do it without provocation. Like, if I get 3v1 and I keep invading people that are 3v1ing me, sometimes I'll wind up sending a hate message, or another example would be, what else have I done it? Sometimes if someone sends me a message and I'm just in a really bad mood, I'll return, like, I'm not a particularly temperamental person, I'm normally pretty chill, but video games, and particularly Call of Duty, sometimes just make me so angry. Like, you know, I've definitely punched holes in walls before, that whole thing, drywall, you know. I'm not like a beast, doesn't take a whole lot of strength to punch through drywall. Yeah, I've punched through drywall and done all that pretty embarrassing stuff before. It's always one of those things, like, the minute you punch the drywall, you realize, like, I'm an idiot, and it's a video game. I should have just turned the game off and went out with friends or whatever, but what can you do? But I notice when I get really upset, I tend to say like really mean things or Xbox Live, and upset is even the word. I just get annoyed. I get annoyed with people that send me messages, like hate messages and stuff like that. It's like, dude, I'm not interested in your opinion. Leave me alone. And unfortunately, there's no option for me just to refuse all messages. I mean, because I like to get messages from my friends and stuff. So I guess I should just appear offline at all times. But even if I did, it wouldn't matter because people would still be able to get a hold of me. I don't know, nerd rage. I think we've all had it at one point or another, and every time we probably should have been embarrassed for having it. Halfway through the commentary, and I'm just, I don't really have like an itinerary. Sometimes when I do these commentaries, I'll have like an itinerary of things I want to talk about. I just wanted to sort of do this one free form, so that's why it might not be as quote-unquote professional as some of my other ones. Of course, this guy's using the Chaos Blade, which actually hurts him every time he swings it. Sort of an awkward weapon to use. It's got nice reach, though. Nice reach, good damage. It's just you hurt yourself a little bit with every swing, and I don't know, people like me who are willing to grind out fights will just try to make you whiff a lot. I think he actually changed weapons there in the middle of the fight. I'm not sure, because he's not taking damage from his swings anymore, which tells me he's using something else. We're trying to get behind each other for the coveted backstab. I'm probably taking way more risks than he is because of the fact that when I try to get those close range rolls, you can actually backstab people through rolls because Dark Souls doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm also trying to throw parries now and again because I don't throw enough parries. I lose fights because I don't parry. And that guy basically just tries to take a roll right into the axe and never really recovers. But that's what makes the Black Knight Greataxe such a viable weapon, is like, if anyone screws up in the least, you kind of get a free win sometimes. Because they can just get stagger stunned and they'll never get out. Of course, here's an invasion. Sometimes when I'm trying to use my orb, I'll get invaded by others. This guy just pops Crystal Magic Weapon right away. I don't let, like I said, I will never just let people free buff. It's not what I do. People never let me free buff. I'm not going to let them free buff, etc. For some reason, I really struggle against these katanas because of the weird like hitboxes on them. Like, I feel like I get hit, and it doesn't really make sense. Like, this is the guy from before with the Avelin. Sometimes when these guys hit me, they hit me like on my screen it looks like I'm not in the path of the blade, but it still hits me. And I'm sure they have the same experience where like they'll try to roll behind me and backstab me, and I'll start beating him with the axe. And they're like, on my screen, he was facing the wrong way. So it's just important to keep in mind, like a lot of players, including myself, who sometimes look we're completely incompetent, really aren't. It's just you're in those situations that don't really work out. And that guy gets me right there. That was a pretty good match. He played it right. That was a good roll catch. I don't like the fact he's basically wearing a belly shirt for armor, but whatever, to each his own. I enjoy matches like that are nice and close. There's no really BM there. And then I invade this dude like Canadian. I think I've invaded like so many people from Canada. I don't know why, but like when people send me like hate messages or I pull up like nationality and stuff, they're like a lot of people are from Canada. And that's cool. I don't particularly favor any one country over another. At least Canada's close enough that the latency is usually pretty tolerable. But I don't know. It just seems strange. There's such a high concentration of Canadian guys. Here's another guy. I run into this guy a lot in the course of these commentaries, at least in the course of this video series I did, and he like rages. Like he sends me messages like, of course he doesn't have the Darkwood Grain Ring, and I did not pull that night, he pulled it, so it's not really on me. But he sends me like messages like, BS, every time you backstab me, you're in front of me on my screen. I'm like, not really. On my screen, I'm behind you. So once again, there's no point in really messaging people complaining that they're magically in front of you or behind you, because, frankly, that just happens all the time. It's a necessity, a necessary evil of playing this game. If you want a PvP in Dark Souls, you just have to accept that there is going to be latency issues. I know some people are still requesting like a video and armor series. I'm going to make that for sure, but I'm just still deciding on the exact kind of formatting I want to do for it. I don't think I just want to like, I obviously want to commentate. I never want to put up non-commentated gameplay anymore unless it's a game that I'm never going to commentate at all, like Armored Core 4 Answer or something like that. And I really just, note to self, I really need to finish the rest of those, uploading the rest of those commentaries. This guy tries to bait me into one of the Pyromancer spells. I'm not sure which one that is. To me, pretty much all of the ones that blow up everything around you are exactly the same. None are vastly superior to the other. I'm running into a lot of Wrath of God guys, and that's cool. I don't really struggle with Wrath of God like other people do. I just mash roll and go through it. If you don't have a cartwheel ring, a Darkwood grain ring, I could see where Wrath of Gods would be considered near unbeatable. Because without those invincibility frames, it's just really hard to deal with it. You can medium roll through it or fast roll through it. I've tried, but it's just it's unfun trying to time it. Like a lot of things you can do sometimes aren't worth risking. Like parries, for example. Like there are a lot of opportunities to parry in a match, a lot of opportunities, but sometimes trying to take them just makes you end up losing matches because if you miss the parry and they just beat you down, that's kind of like a bad case scenario. And this guy's probably trying to get to Gwen, so I've got to run all the way across the kiln here to go finish him off. A good way to tell where your opponent is look around for where the Black Knights are. If the guy is hiding, odds are he's actually going to disconnect from the match, like go into party chat to get disconnected from the match or whatever. That's really common in the kiln too. But if all the knights are dead, it's probably a good idea to start running, you know, towards Gwen's area. Or at the same time, if you start seeing life bars pop up, you know, head towards the life bars, etc. This area, thankfully, isn't too big, and the only places really to hide are, like, up on the ash hills at the start of the level, the start of the zone. I usually don't check those. If anyone's hiding up there, I assume that I should just ignore them. Having that guy using Chameleon at the start, that was new. He probably should have Chameleon somewhere where I'd be more likely to believe it, because everyone, you know, going Chameleon back here somewhere would be much more believable. I don't know, because you have to do something where you genuinely blend in, like maybe on like the stone pathway, the narrow stone pathway across, like Chameleon at one of like the off edges of that. I think I could run past that, my eye wouldn't catch it. I'm not sure. Of course, here's the ever prevalent single player build. Lightning's a 1D air and full Havels with Havel's shield. Beat any boss ever with that build, no problem. Fantastic against the Four Kings. Of course, I tried to time my backstab there and I missed it. I'm one-handing right now so I can keep my shield up. And he just keeps mashing R2. I do believe that's a Zawandi air, and if so, the R1 is actually much more reliable. Of course, this is another one of those guys that messaged me saying, "You're lag stabbing me, stop it." And I'm like, I can only do what I see on my screen, sir. I apologize. Excuse me. I don't particularly like using weapons like this in general. Like the Black Knight Greataxe isn't my thing. The slower the weapon is, typically the less I like it. But I couldn't just do commentaries with like all katanas and all S-stocks. I feel like that would get pretty boring pretty fast. So I try to mix up my weapon options. Up to this point, I don't really have any like just big beatdown weapons on my channel. So I figured I'd go ahead and put a Black Knight Greataxe on there. I invaded this guy numerous times with his Evelyn on his back. Rolls in and gets beat down by the Black Knight Greataxe. Happens all the time. I'm not sure. I know he has a Lightning Evelyn. My question if he has lightning arrows with it. Because Lightning Evelyn with lightning arrows actually does the most damage of all the Evelyn builds. Like the only two Evelyn builds that are really remarkable are +5 Lightning Evelyn with the lightning arrows or regular Evelyn with heavy bolts. The reason you want to match your ammo to your weapon type is you don't want to split your damage. Like you don't want lightning Evelyn with physical arrows because then you have to go through physical defense and lightning defense, resulting in lower overall damage. You want to stay consistent. So like regular Evelyn is much more popular because heavy bolts are cheap, whereas lightning bolts are really expensive. Like a volley from Evelyn is like almost 1,000 souls, so that's just something to keep in mind. I think this guy has the Dark Sword, which has a really unique moveset. Sometimes using those weapons that have like different or strange movesets is a big trick to winning. Like sometimes when people have the Painted Guardian Sword, I just wind up getting bamboozled because of the way it works. Like because if you start R2ing, you start spinning in like a little circle, like dancing basically, which is really cool. And it gets me killed because I'm not prepared for it. And I'm trying to beat him down, but I keep swinging to the ground. That downward sweep can actually get you stuck on hills. It's something I need to be careful about. He takes the hit, but I can't finish him off with the second hit. He rolls out barely. Now I'm trying to backstab, and I don't know why. He's at such a low life that a regular hit will probably finish him off. He's so close to death, his only really options are to like run away in humanity or try to pop heals like that. Oh, that's a grass, sorry. Once again, consumables for days. Trying to trade blows with the Black Knight Greataxe is the worst way ever to win. You want to wait for me to whiff an attack, or if I'm being careful and I'm not throwing attacks, to beat the Black Knight Greataxe, you basically just have to get good trades. Like, trading 1-into-1 is not a good trade with this weapon. It'll almost guaranteed do more damage. You want to maybe like trade a couple blows. Like the weapons swing slow, so if I take a swing and you block, you can hit me and then back out. Or you could just use like a rapier or a spear and just try to start poking me. That's pretty common too, is like crystal magic weapon rapiers. Go behind shield and just poke, 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 poke. You actually do a ton of damage with rapiers once you buff them. You do a ton of damage with anything once you buff it. So that's just something I'm trying to be more mindful of. Not a common build, but not necessary. I probably see it at least once a session is where I see like Great Shield of Artorias, S-Stock build, where they just hide, or like Great Shield of Artorias, Rickard's Rapier, one of the two, and they just crystal magic weapon and hide behind the Great Shield and just poke you out. Not the coolest thing ever, but it works. It works against people like me who aren't smart enough to back away. That's why I have this shuttle in my inventory. I have a +5 Chaos Shuttle in my inventory so I can swap to beat down on shield people. But if they have a lot of life, it's a really slow uphill battle. Like +5 Chaos Shuttle on average against people with heavy armor does about 150 one-handed to 200 two-handed against turtles. You can hit through their shield, but at 200 damage and no chance of hit stun, it's pretty rough, let me tell you. Because usually I'll just hit them and they'll just walk right past me, like whatever. This guy, of course, has the full Havel's Black Knight Greataxe, and he's apparently asleep at the wheel, or I'm not really sure what he's doing, but once again, I'm not going to worry about AFKers. I'm going to go ahead and beat him down. I'm not going to Separation Crystal to leave the area. Stay at your console if you're going to play Dark Souls, or start quit to the menu because you can save and start quit anywhere at any time. Just a thought. I was trying to bring random, but I thought about bringing some Battlefield 3 commentary to the channel, and I ultimately decided against it because A, I suck at Battlefield 3, but B, because I don't really like Battlefield. I bought Battlefield to get a change from Call of Duty, and did not work out. Of course, this guy's taunting, trying to challenge me. This guy's a really interesting character strategy where he basically just puts Iron Flesh on, gets about 1,000,000 defense, and just chugs around the map, trying to keep his shield up and his face towards you so you can't backstab him. Which works pretty well, because as you can see, he's using the Black Knight Greataxe like me, and that weapon tracks like it's his job. I actually wind up invading that guy numerous times. I think only the one time in this commentary, but in part 2, you'll see a couple rematches against this guy where I wind up getting him. Pretty handedly, actually. Just right there, I screwed up. He had Iron Flesh on, I still went in for backstabs. I probably should just wait for Iron Flesh to wear off, but whatever. Here's Canadian Hamster again. It's too bad that because the game is broken into servers, you wind up playing against the same people again and again and again. Like the people on that server who want to PvP are going to run into a lot. One of these days, I'd like to go to the Forest and do a little 2v2 action with some of my friends, but the problem with fighting the Forest is there's no level cap. So every now and then you run to that team that's like level 999 or 99 points in every stat ever by using the Dragon's Head glitch, and you're like, really, guys? Like, I don't want to deal with this. And it's just really annoying to fight against like max level people because they have so much life and so much damage, and who knows what they'll be. Probably using like I saw one guy in the Forest at max soul level using the Great Sword of Artorias, and he backstabbed me for like 9,000 damage or some astronomical number like that. It's pretty funny, but at the same time, it wouldn't be much of a competition, you know. Obviously, I'm checking back there for like a chameleon guy or anything like that. Sorry, this is a bit more of a ramble commentary than I like to do for Dark Souls, but with 30 minutes of PvP, I just had a lot of time to talk and share my thoughts on each match. This isn't really like an instructional video for the Black Knight Greataxe, because it's really easy to use and it's just not a big deal. Swing away and time your attacks. Like most weapons, I mean, there's a lot to PvP in this game, but at the same time, like, the fundamentals for big heavy weapons are always the same. Beat down and stun lock. I don't know why, I don't know if I came in with low life. I think I came in with low life. Either way, there's your Claymore beats, which are working pretty effectively against me because I'm walking into it like a tard. Oh, unfortunately, he kind of whiffs a bad swing and I get behind him for a backstab, and that's pretty much the end of it because he had 46 life and really nothing he could do there. So take my bow, and I end the commentary there with the first set of 30 minutes of Black Knight Greataxe PvP. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. More videos coming soon from Dark Souls, and preferably some other games so I can start mixing it up. Alright guys, everyone take care.